It was a September few around here will ever forget. A major hurricane making landfall in southwest Florida and the rebuilding effort that continues today. Some of the storm's impact is just now being fully realized as we look at the hurricane in hindsight. Our centerpiece story comes from the viewpoint of a Naples photographer. She snapped scenes around town recreating the very same shots taken by her grandfather following Hurricane Donna.
When I put two and two together that, my goodness, this hit on the exact same date in history 57 years later, I had to do it.
Then a grave situation in Lee County as historic burial plots are unearthed in the flood. A final resting place no more. Plus, game fish are returning to the area following their pre-hurricane exodus. Charter boat captains hope someone will take the bait. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. Hurricanes Donna and Irma will forever be linked in history. Both hit southwest Florida on September 10th, separated by 57 years. The striking coincidence was not lost on a local woman who shares a unique connection to both storms. Picture a much smaller, less luxurious Naples back in 1960. Joe Coleman was a local studio photographer who took a shot at history. His tiny booklet chronicles the aftermath of Hurricane Donna. The strongest storm of the 1960 season, the Category 4 swept across the Keys before making landfall in Naples, destroying 153 homes.
The pictures were taken the week after. It happened September 10th. On 1960, and he took the photographs immediately after.
Coleman's granddaughter Heather followed in his footsteps. A professional photographer, she grew up with a first-hand account of Donna at her fingertips.
He had a little studio, as I said, down at the Cove, and it was a perfect location to go out and about and get the damage downtown, because as you know, Naples wasn't as big as it is now. So he was able to cover a lot of the damage within the immediate area of his studio.
As Irma approached many decades later, Heather saw history repeating itself, both storms striking southwest Florida on September 10th.
Hurricane Donna hit a little bit east of where the path for Hurricane Irma hit, but the time of day was within an hour, and the path was very similar.
So after the storm, she got busy, snapping photos to put the hurricane in focus, just like Granddad Joe did a half-century before.
All my growing up years, I had seen this booklet. I had heard the stories from my mom and my uncle about what had happened in Naples.
She built on his idea, recreating the same shots and seeking out areas of destruction.
I just imagine that he went out, and as he was taking the pictures, I'm sure he was helpful to people. I'm sure he was pitching in where he could, and I was trying to do the same as well.
Heather's hurricane story plays out much like Joe's. She plans to publish a commemorative booklet.
He offered his book for $1, which I would love to know. I'd have to look that up and see what the equivalent in today's economy would be.
It's not about money, it's about a photographer, two actually, a lifetime apart, preserving moments in time.
Not only the roots in Naples, but also the privilege really of being able to take pictures of something that happens only once every 57 years or so.
Many people across southwest Florida are not resting easy post-Irma, among them the living and in some cases the dead. The hurricane flooded several area graveyards, unearthing caskets at the historic Buckingham Cemetery, final resting place for about a dozen Civil War veterans. Our news press team covered this grave situation.
It looks like my Aunt Dot and my Uncle David have moved. Their caskets have moved. So I don't know exactly how we're going to put that back together. and there's not a whole lot of family members left that can help with that. So I just wanted to come and check to see how theirs did, and it looks like they've moved. I would like to see these get put back. I mean, it's not a priority when you look at the people that are still living with no air, no water, and no electric, and they're living where water's sitting. So this isn't a major priority, but when everything's calmed down, it would be nice to move everyone back.
Amy Bennett Williams and Ken Fay brought us this story from the news press. Amy, can you talk about the historical nature this particular cemetery holds?
This cemetery in Buckingham, which is a little community in unincorporated East Lee County, is very close to the Orange River. It's where many of the region's pioneer families are buried. So it goes back to the 1800s. There are a number of, at least for Lee County, well-recognized last names, Flints and Yeomans, and there are 11 Confederate soldiers buried there, and it's loved by the community. It's not a municipal cemetery, so the people who take care of it are all volunteers. They've taken upon themselves to take care of its upkeep. And because it's near the Orange River, a lot of the burials are in vaults above ground, but until this storm, they've held up pretty well.
And we saw the video on Facebook. A lot of people saw that circulated around. The caskets kind of actually floating around off their foundations and floating. There
was so much water, and it was moving with such force that it did displace these above ground burials and shove them off of one of them was shoved right into a chain link fence like it's trying to get out. And of course the wind toppled tree branches, brought down crosses and gravestones, and just really made a mess of this place.
And Ken Fay, you chronicled the images of this and actually spoke with the families who really feel a sense of urgency about restoring everything back to its proper place.
Yes, I spoke with Donna Lang. She happened to arrive just as I was arriving there, and she had an aunt and uncle that were buried there. And as she entered into the cemetery with a friend, you can hear her saying, "I think they were over there in the corner. I think they're over there in the corner." And then when she gets to the corner and they're not there, you can just see this great sense of disappointment come over her. And she's asking me, "Do you know where, you know, the Wootens are?" And together, her and I, me with my camera, and to some degree, kind of looked for the Wootens. And in fact, her uncle was actually the vault that had made its way into the fence. And as I talked to her, you know, there was some sincere emotion and some sincere dread there. Emotion born out of them being moved, but then dread at how are they going to be placed back, you know. So it was kind of it was eye-opening that even that those that weren't living, you know, were still hurting, I guess, in some ways.
Sure, impacted. And you have to feel for them. I mean, that's not something you expect, to have a loved one that's already been interred in a way, now kind of scattered around and having to find them actually after the storm.
Yeah, one thing that she pointed out that Amy kind of alluded to as well is, she said, "I know that this is not the most important thing, that there still are people in shelters, you know, there are still people without power, some without food, some without fresh water," but she was just really hoping, like deeply, with every emotion in her body, that there would be a time where this could be resolved and these caskets and these above ground vaults could be put back in their place.
And it's worth noting that Collier County had a similar occurrence at a graveyard in Immokalee area.
At the Lake Trafford Memorial Gardens too, the same thing happened. As the Naples Daily News reported, the water came up so high that some of the caskets started to emerge from the ground, and there was a very poignant story of a woman seeing her mother's casket unearthed. So this is a problem when you get these unexpected storms and water events. Things move.
Very interesting. Now, did they have a plan to kind of restore order for these loved ones?
The same volunteer corps that has kind of taken care of this cemetery is mobilizing. There's a Facebook community, and people have followed this story on Facebook. They're getting together, they're pitching in, they're bringing their equipment, and this coming Saturday, they're all going to go out to the cemetery and begin working. They're not sure, I mean, they're going to need heavy equipment to put some of these pieces back, but they're at least going to get the process started on Saturday. And
you touched on the fact that this is not a public cemetery that we have today. These have to be manicured and cared for privately because they were private cemeteries in a sense.
Exactly. It's one of 20 non-municipal cemeteries that we know about in Southwest Florida. Back when Southwest Florida was a collection of smaller communities, people just buried their dead close to where they lived, and communities would do that, and it was not taken care of or taken charge of by a central government force. So that's the case with this cemetery and the one in Alva and the smaller cemeteries throughout the region.
And lastly, do you plan on covering the kind of return to resting in peace? Both of you? Kim Fay, will you be there?
Yeah, I think so. I work on Saturday, so I think that we will go out there and we'll document that, you know, with I think a video and with the story as well. And one thing I wanted to point out is that the Southwest Florida community has a recent history of rallying behind places like this. The Fort Myers Cemetery that had a small veteran section that had fell into disarray, and the community came out and, you know, rallied behind and kind of got that cemetery picked back up a lot. And a lot of the driver is veterans. You know,
very true.
Amy and I found out that sometimes if you put that veterans word in there, that kind of helps raise that attention just a little bit, and so some may come out and serve the veterans, but they're also serving non-veterans as well. So I think the Southwest Florida community really rallies behind causes like this.
And they do. I mean, if I may put in a plug for a newspaper, it's because we are the catalyst, because people like Kim Fay go out, document what is happening, and we're able to get it in front of the public. And certainly the community comes together, but it's because we let people know what's happening.
Well, the story we were talking about a few minutes ago really got circulated on social media as well. How many shares of the story?
Well, one way to kind of see if your story is resonating with, you know, with the community is like the Facebook shares, the number of times people have come to the site and then they've shared it. And that act of sharing says this is important. So I think it's up to maybe 13 or 1,400 Facebook shares by now. And that's an exorbitant number, especially so long after the initial hurricane. But back to what Amy says and what you do, what Naples does, what a lot of other news organizations do is I think we are trying to evolve past just I got you or this or that. But hey, here's a need, you know, bring the need to the attention of the public, and if you want to help out, great.
Coming up, busting a few hernia myths in this week's Positively Healthy. That's up after the break.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom-designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
More than 1 million hernia repair surgeries are performed in this country each year. It's a safe and reliable procedure. Still, there are many misconceptions surrounding this condition. We're breaking them down in this week's Positively Healthy. The way people talk about hernias may give you the wrong impression. People used to believe they were the result of strenuous activity, but doctors know better.
The old thinking was that it was people, it was smokers, people with chronic coughing, heavy lifting, and obesity. But it's turning out that as we study it more and more, that it's probably mostly going to be genetic.
Dr. Brian Smith is a board-certified general surgeon who frequently performs hernia repair operations.
So a hernia is really any hole in the abdominal wall where the contents of the abdominal cavity push through.
While heavy lifting and strenuous activities may aggravate a hernia, the problem was likely brewing all along.
So usually what happens is somebody may have a little tiny one that's been there for years that they're unaware of, and then they lift something or they cough really hard, and then it suddenly pushes things out more, and then it becomes more symptomatic.
Another misconception is that wrapping the abdomen may protect you from further or future damage. Binders may be recommended, but only for specific uses.
Sometimes on the incisional hernias and things like that, but that's really to cut down on the swelling. It doesn't really prevent. If the hernia is going to tear and recur, it'll do that anyway.
If you have a hernia, don't dress it yourself. Address it with your doctor instead.
They don't get better over time, they just get worse. And the bigger they are, sometimes the more difficult they are to fix.
The news isn't all bad following Hurricane Irma. On the upside, the fish are biting.
Since the storm has happened, typically with the storms when they come through, they shuffle the bottom up a little bit and group the fish back together, so it's typically a really good thing for the fishing. It really turns on the bite, groups the fish back up together.
Charters and commercial captains are noticing small bait fish coming back into Estero Bay. They expect the bigger fish to follow. The only thing missing are charter passengers.
We were real lucky because our main issue is having ice. So we were going to think that it was a direct hit, that we were going to get a lot more damage, but really the main issue was just power. So for us, once we were able to get power, we can make ice. We were safe enough to put our boats in places that wouldn't be affected by the elements. So we were very fortunate that all of our boats came out without any scratches on them, and we're back fishing as soon as we could make ice. So Mother Nature has a bunch of variables that go into what happens. So it's always a constant battle for us to try and figure out, what's she telling us to do. We got 3 directions we can go, north, south, or west. So everything has added to the equation to say, hey, this is why this is happening, but it's hard to predict. Yeah, I mean, we were expecting it to basically come right down our street, and at the last minute it decided to take a turn. So, I mean, we were expecting a lot worse. We just got very fortunate, and we just feel blessed that we're at where we're at now and back in business and open.
Yeah, the expectations are that it's going to get better. A lot of the old timers on the islands have said that the longer you go in between storms, when you do get that storm, the fishing's typically going to be better than it ever has. So we're ready for it to happen, and hopefully that's going to be the build-up to from here on out.
Still to come, we aren't the only ones rebuilding our digs. Southwest Florida's favorite eagles are feathering the nest following Hurricane Irma. That's coming up next on Behind the Headlines.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida. And now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now 2 locations to serve you.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA Triple Check Insurance Review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
For a better lifestyle, shop Bears.
Bears has been in business for 70 years. We're really proud of that. Bears promises to give you the best value for your money. Whatever look you want for your home, Bears will have it for you. We'll have what you want and we'll make you happy. That's the Bear family promise.
Please contact us with any questions or concerns as you recover from the storm. We are committed to helping our community rebuild.
Life in the tropics can be messy with all the foot traffic that comes with indoor-outdoor living, and that's where floor coverings come into play. In this week's Inspired Living, we look at options that stand up to use and do it with style. No matter how much thought you put into your home decor, it's really not complete unless you take care of the rugs. It can probably make or break your look. And that is going to tell us how we can get some of the tropical look with Tommy Bahama all the way down to the floor.
Yes. Your Tommy Bahama rugs are not your typical jute and natural fiber rugs anymore. Today they expand into the tribal, the reversible jute rugs, and the colorful striped looks. That's really helped transition color that we have been currently using in our today's home.
So you don't have to see bird of paradise on everything.
Everything,
or big
correct.
Old, or the monkey or the pineapple.
Yes.
What's nice too, I can tell since they're sitting on my lap, they also feel good to the touch. They're not real prickly. I don't know about
softer.
This one. Yes. That is soft.
Yeah, yes.
And then you're getting in some more kind of contemporary designs and styles as well.
We're looking at some, actually some wool hand knotted rugs, which are unusual for a tropical look.
Yeah.
But they're very transitional. They're tribal, I would say tribal transitional, but yet very elegant, casual elegant, I would say. These are also colorful woven polypropylenes, which can be used inside or outside, and woven wool products that are transitional as well. So you can take them from the outside to the inside and transition your whole home.
And they come in an assortment of sizes though, so you can use the great big rug or put it in your living room, or you have smaller ones as well?
So your inside just flows well with the outside.
What's nice about it though is so many times I know that I'm guilty of this. You make the problem of having a nice decor and then you can't find the right colors to match in your rug. Yes. But if this is all Tommy Bahama, it sounds like problem solved in that regard.
Yes, they make coordinating pieces that go from one collection to another.
Do you find that a lot, that people are concerned about how to get a rug that matches their stuff?
Yes, because sometimes they have a statement rug in one room and they don't want to have the same rug. And because all of our spaces now are so open, they don't want to have the same rug in the dining, because rugs do definitely define a space. So with the different textures and colors, we can do that, either in geometric, boho, or
well, it's very nice that within the tropical setting, there's so many different directions you can go, and it's all right here for you.
Yes, it is.
So thank you very much, Annette.
Thank you.
Florida's most famous eagle couple made it through the storm, and you can watch them rebuild their nest courtesy of the Southwest Florida Eagle Cam. That's the end of the road for this edition of Behind the Headlines. Thank you for joining us. You can always catch up on past shows by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side under Quick Links, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.